Imagine you are standing in front of a mirror, looking at yourself. You see the same face, the same eyes, but deep inside, you know something is missing. You wake up every morning, follow the same routine, go through the same struggles, and yet, you feel stuck. Life moves forward, but you don't feel like you are moving with it. You wonder, what if things could be different? What if you could wake up each day feeling a sense of purpose? What if you had control over your emotions, your actions, and your mind? What if small, consistent changes could completely transform the way you see yourself and the world around you? Have you ever asked yourself, why do some people seem so at peace, while others are constantly stressed? Why do some achieve their goals effortlessly, while others struggle year after year? What is it that truly separates those who grow into their best selves from those who remain stuck in old patterns? Think about a glass of water filled with dirt. If you keep shaking it, the water remains cloudy. But if you let it sit still, the dirt settles, and the water becomes clear. Your mind works the same way. When you are constantly caught up in distractions, stress, and negativity, you never give yourself a chance to see things clearly. But when you pause, reflect, and build the right habits, everything begins to change. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, your space for self-growth, wisdom, and transformation. If you are ready to break free from old patterns and step into a better version of yourself, you are in the right place. But before we begin, let me ask you something. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribed. If you find value in what we share, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. It takes just a second for you, but it means the world to us. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Becoming a better version of yourself doesn't require drastic changes. It starts with the small things, the way you think, the way you react, and the way you treat yourself and others. Every action, every thought, and every habit you build has the power to shape your life. In Buddhism, the journey towards self-improvement is not about achieving perfection. It is about awareness. It is about understanding your own mind, recognizing what holds you back, and making conscious choices that align with a wiser, more peaceful way of living. One of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for the perfect moment to change. They wait for motivation. They wait for inspiration. But what if the real transformation comes from simply taking the first step? In Buddhism, this is known as right effort, the practice of taking small, intentional actions that lead to positive change over time. The habits we build shape the way we experience life. If you constantly focus on negativity, your world becomes negative. If you practice patience, kindness, and self-discipline, your world reflects that energy back to you. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant and nurture will grow. Many people believe that happiness comes from success, money, or external achievements. But in reality, happiness is an inner state, one that is cultivated through awareness, discipline, and the right mindset. No matter where you are in life, no matter what challenges you face, you have the ability to grow and evolve. In the upcoming parts of this video, we will explore 10 powerful habits rooted in Buddhist wisdom, habits that will help you gain clarity, build confidence, and create a life that feels truly fulfilling. These are not just abstract ideas. They are practical, proven habits that can be applied to your daily life. So, are you ready to take the first step? Are you ready to break free from the past and step into a better, wiser version of yourself? If so, stay with us, because what comes next may change the way you see yourself forever. Mindful beginnings, cultivating awareness in daily life. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air moving in and out of your lungs. This is life. This very moment is all that exists. The past is gone. The future is unknown. But this breath, this is real. Most people spend their lives lost in thought. They wake up in the morning, but their mind is already somewhere else, thinking about work, about problems, about things they need to do. They eat their meals without tasting the food. They walk without noticing the ground beneath their feet. They hear words, but they do not truly listen. Life passes by, but they are never fully present to experience it. Imagine walking through a beautiful garden, but instead of looking at the flowers, you are staring at your phone. You miss the colors, the fragrance, the gentle breeze. This is how most people live. They are not truly living. They are just moving through life on autopilot. Buddhism teaches that awareness, pure, simple awareness, is the key to waking up from this sleep. It is the key to truly living. When you wake up in the morning, what is the first thing you do? Do you grab your phone and start scrolling? Do you jump out of bed, already thinking about what you need to do? Or do you take a moment to just breathe, to feel the warmth of your bed, to listen to the sounds around you? Every morning, you are given a choice. You can rush into the day, lost in thought, or you can begin with awareness. You can choose to be present. And when you choose presence, everything changes. A cup of tea is just a cup of tea. But when you drink it with awareness, feeling the warmth in your hands, tasting each sip, noticing the aroma, it becomes an experience. A simple meal, eaten with mindfulness, can bring deep satisfaction. A walk outside, taken with awareness, can make you feel truly alive. Mindfulness is not complicated. It does not require special skills. It is the art of simply being here, right now, fully engaged in what you are doing. It is about slowing down, not in your actions, but in your mind. Have you ever noticed how time seems to fly by? Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, months into years. And then one day, you wonder, where did it all go? The truth is, when you are not present, life slips away unnoticed. But when you are fully aware, even the simplest moments become rich and meaningful. Many people think that happiness comes from achieving big things, getting a better job, earning more money, finding the perfect partner. But true happiness is found in the small moments, in the laughter of a friend, in the warmth of sunlight on your skin, in the feeling of cool water on a hot day. These moments are all around you, waiting to be noticed. But the mind is restless. It does not want to be still. It wants to wander, to chase thoughts, to live in the past and future. And this is where practice comes in. Just as a muscle becomes stronger with exercise, awareness grows with practice. Start with something simple. The next time you eat, just eat. No phone, no distractions. Just taste the food. Chew slowly. Notice the textures, the flavors. This is mindfulness. The next time you walk, just walk. Feel your feet touching the ground. Notice the rhythm of your steps. Breathe in the fresh air. This is mindfulness. You don't need to change your life to practice mindfulness. You only need to change the way you experience it. A Zen master once said, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The actions remain the same. The difference is in awareness. In the beginning, mindfulness will feel strange. Your mind will resist. You will forget. You will get lost in thought again and again. But that is normal. The key is to simply return. Every time you notice that you have drifted away, gently bring your focus back to the present. Over time, it will become natural, and something incredible will happen. You will begin to feel lighter. The things that used to bother you will not seem so important anymore. You will feel calmer, more in control, more alive. Life will no longer feel like a race. It will feel like a gift. Mindfulness is not a temporary practice. It is a way of living. It is a way of seeing the world with fresh eyes, as if everything is new. And in this way, every day becomes an adventure. So take a breath. Feel this moment. You are here. You are alive. And that is enough. The power of letting go, releasing attachments and negative patterns. Do you know why a bird can fly so freely in the sky? Because it carries nothing. It holds on to nothing. It trusts the wind, the sky, and the rhythm of life. But as human beings, we do the opposite. We hold on to things, pain, expectations, memories, regrets, fears. We fill our minds and hearts with so much weight that we forget how to be free. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks. Every rock represents something, a grudge, a past mistake, an expectation that was never met. The more you hold on to, the heavier it becomes. You walk through life with this weight pressing down on you, slowing you, exhausting you. But what if I told you that you don't have to carry it anymore? What if I told you that you have the power to let go? Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean giving up. It means freeing yourself from the chains that no longer serve you. It means understanding that some things in life are not meant to stay, and that is okay. In Buddhism, we call this impermanence, the understanding that nothing is permanent, nothing lasts forever, and that clinging only leads to suffering. Think about the river. It flows, always moving, never holding on to a single drop of water. Yet, it never runs out. It never fears losing itself. It simply moves with life. But we, as humans, resist this natural flow. We try to control everything, our relationships, our future, our emotions. And when things don't go the way we expect, we suffer. You might have noticed this in your own life. Maybe you've held on to a painful memory, replaying it in your mind over and over again. Maybe you've been hurt by someone, and even though time has passed, the anger still lives inside you. Maybe you've attached yourself to a dream, an idea, or a version of yourself that no longer exists. And because of this, you struggle. But ask yourself, what is this attachment giving you? Is it bringing you peace? Is it making you happy? Or is it only keeping you stuck? There is a story in Zen Buddhism about two monks traveling together. They came across a river where a woman was struggling to cross. The older monk picked her up and carried her across. Hours later, as they continued their journey, the younger monk couldn't hold back his frustration. He said, "How could you carry that woman? We monks are not supposed to touch women." The older monk smiled and said, "I put her down at the river. Why are you still carrying her? This is how most of us live. We carry things long after they are gone. Someone hurts us, and instead of letting it go, we replay it in our minds. We hold on to resentment, anger, and regret, allowing it to take up space in our hearts. But the truth is, we are only hurting ourselves. Letting go is an act of kindness toward yourself. It is choosing peace over pain. It is deciding that your happiness is more important than holding on to something that no longer serves you. But how do we do it? How do we let go of something that feels so deeply attached to us? First, we become aware of what we are holding on to. Many people carry burdens without even realizing it. They hold on to pain from childhood, past relationships, or mistakes they made years ago. But awareness is the first step. Once you recognize what you are holding on to, you can begin the process of releasing it. Second, we accept that life will not always go the way we want. People change. Situations change. The things we once depended on may no longer be there. And that is okay. Clinging to something that is already gone only creates suffering. But accepting change allows us to move forward. Third, we forgive, and not just others, but also ourselves. Forgiveness does not mean what happened was right. It does not mean we allow people to hurt us again. It simply means we free ourselves from the pain of the past. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. In truth, we are only poisoning ourselves. Fourth, we trust that life knows what it is doing. Sometimes, we hold on to something because we fear the unknown. We think, if I let go, what will happen? But nature teaches us that everything has its time. Leaves fall when the season changes. Waves come and go. The sun rises and sets without resistance. The more we trust in life's natural flow, the lighter we become. But letting go is not always easy. There will be days when the past pulls you back. There will be moments when the weight feels too heavy to drop. That is okay. It is a practice. Every day, remind yourself that you deserve peace. Remind yourself that you are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the pain that was given to you. You are something far greater. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, holding on to a handful of sand. The tighter you grip, the more the sand slips through your fingers. But if you open your hand, the sand remains, resting gently on your palm. This is life. The more we cling, the more we suffer. But when we loosen our grip, we find peace. So, take a deep breath. Look at what you have been holding on to. Ask yourself, is this helping me, or is it holding me back? If it is holding you back, maybe it's time to put it down. Maybe it's time to free yourself. Because when you let go, you don't lose anything. You gain everything. You gain clarity, peace, and space for something new. And that is where real transformation begins. Mastering self-discipline, the key to inner strength. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to do things you hate. It is about freeing yourself from the control of desires, distractions, and impulses that weaken your mind. It is about being the master of yourself, rather than a servant to your habits. Imagine a river with no banks to guide it. The water spreads in all directions, losing its strength, becoming nothing more than scattered puddles. But when a river has strong banks, its flow becomes powerful. It moves with direction, carving paths through mountains, shaping the world. Your mind is that river. Without discipline, it becomes weak, easily pulled in every direction. But with discipline, it gains power. It moves forward, cutting through obstacles, creating a life of purpose and meaning. Most people believe discipline is about restriction, about forcing yourself to follow rules. But true discipline is an act of love. It is a way of caring for yourself, protecting your energy, and guiding your life towards something greater. In Buddhism, discipline is not about punishment. It is about awareness, seeing your actions clearly, understanding their consequences, and choosing what is right over what is easy. Think about a candle in the wind. Without protection, it flickers and dies. But if you shield it, if you give it the right space, it can burn steadily, bringing light into darkness. Your mind is that candle. Without discipline, it is vulnerable to every passing distraction, every fleeting desire. But when you protect it, when you create the right conditions, it becomes steady. It burns bright. But how do we develop discipline? The first step is to understand what weakens it. Look at your daily life. How often do you say, just one more time, when giving into something unhealthy? How often do you postpone what you know is important? These small moments may seem harmless, but they add up. Every time you let distractions win, you train your mind to be weaker. But every time you choose discipline, you make your mind stronger. Buddhism teaches us that the mind is like a wild horse. If left untrained, it runs wherever it pleases, uncontrolled, restless. But with patience, with consistent effort, the horse can be trained. It can become steady, calm, and powerful. The same is true for your mind. The more you practice control, the easier it becomes. Some believe that discipline is about removing pleasure from life, but that is not true. Discipline is about choosing a greater joy over a fleeting one. A person who eats mindlessly may enjoy the moment, but later feels heavy, tired, and unwell. A person who eats with awareness, who respects their body, enjoys lasting energy and strength. One pleasure is short-lived. The other brings lasting well-being. The greatest obstacle to discipline is the illusion that we will always have time. I will start tomorrow. I will change next week. But tomorrow is never guaranteed. The only time we truly have is now. The moment you decide to act with discipline, you step into your own power. You take control of your life, instead of letting life control you. In Buddhism, there is a simple truth: what you practice, you become. If you practice distraction, you become restless. If you practice patience, you become calm. If you practice discipline, you become strong. Every choice, no matter how small, is a step toward the person you are becoming. Some days will be difficult. Some days, your mind will resist. That is natural. But discipline is not about being perfect. It is about being consistent. Even when you fail, you get back up. Even when it is hard, you keep going. Because every time you choose discipline, you are choosing yourself. You are choosing your future. A tree does not grow strong in one day. It faces storms, it bends in the wind, but it does not break. Over time, its roots grow deeper, its trunk grows thicker, and it becomes unshakable. That is discipline. The more you practice it, the stronger you become. Look at the greatest masters, the wisest people. They did not achieve greatness by accident. They built themselves through discipline, through dedication, through unwavering effort. They understood that the mind, when trained, becomes limitless. And that same strength exists within you. So ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be controlled by distractions, by impulses, by laziness? Or do you want to be the master of your own mind, the creator of your own destiny? The choice is yours. And it begins with discipline. The art of compassion, expanding your heart for a fulfilling life. Compassion is the key to true happiness. It is the bridge that connects us to others, the light that softens our hearts, and the force that transforms suffering into understanding. Without compassion, life feels empty, no matter how much we achieve. But with it, even the smallest moments can become deeply meaningful. Imagine walking down the street and seeing someone struggling to carry heavy bags. You stop, offer a helping hand, and see the relief in their eyes. In that moment, something changes, not just for them, but for you. You feel warmth in your heart, a sense of connection that words cannot describe. This is the power of compassion. It does not just help others, it frees us from the prison of our own minds. In Buddhism, compassion is not just a feeling, it is an action. It is not enough to simply wish others well. True compassion means stepping forward, offering kindness, and making a real difference, even in the smallest ways. When we practice compassion, we do not just help others, we dissolve our own suffering. Many people think that compassion is weakness, that being kind makes us vulnerable. But the truth is, compassion is strength. It takes courage to care. It takes wisdom to see beyond our own struggles and recognize the pain of others. It is easy to ignore, easy to judge, easy to walk away. But real power comes from opening our hearts, even when it is difficult. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who take without giving? The ones who put themselves first at all costs? Or are they the ones who uplift others, who inspire kindness, who make the world a better place? The greatest leaders, the most enlightened beings, are those who have mastered the art of compassion. But compassion is not just about helping others, it is also about how we treat ourselves. Many people carry deep self-judgment, constantly criticizing themselves for not being good enough. They speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. They carry guilt, regret, and shame, believing that they are unworthy of love. This is where compassion begins with yourself. If you cannot offer kindness to your own heart, how can you truly give it to others? Imagine holding a small child in your arms. Would you speak harshly? Would you tell them they are not good enough? No. You would comfort them, encourage them, and remind them of their worth. Why then, do we not do the same for ourselves? Self-compassion is not selfish. It is not about making excuses or avoiding growth. It is about recognizing that you, like everyone else, are a human being on a journey. You will make mistakes. You will face challenges. And that is okay. You deserve the same kindness that you so easily offer to others. Some may ask, but what about those who hurt us? Should we be compassionate toward them too? This is one of the hardest lessons of all. When someone causes us pain, our first instinct is anger. We want justice. We want them to understand how they have hurt us. But here is the truth: holding on to anger does not punish them. It only poisons us. Buddhism teaches that all beings suffer. Even those who harm others are acting from a place of pain. This does not mean we excuse their actions, but it does mean we try to understand. We do not carry the burden of hatred, because hatred only creates more suffering. Instead, we learn to let go, not for them, but for ourselves. Letting go does not mean allowing people to walk over us. It does not mean accepting harm. It means choosing peace over resentment, wisdom over revenge. It means recognizing that our own happiness is more important than clinging to past wounds. But how do we develop true compassion? It begins with awareness. Every day, we encounter countless people, some kind, some rude, some indifferent. Instead of reacting automatically, we pause. We see beyond their actions. We recognize their struggles, their fears, their unseen battles. When someone is rude to us, instead of anger, we ask, what pain are they carrying? When someone ignores us, instead of resentment, we ask, what burdens weigh on their heart? This shift in perspective changes everything. It allows us to respond with wisdom, instead of reacting with emotion. Compassion is not just a feeling we turn on and off. It is a practice. It is something we cultivate every day, through our thoughts, our words, and our actions. It is a way of living that brings deep joy, because when we stop seeing others as separate from ourselves, we realize that every act of kindness is a gift to our own soul. Think of a candle. It does not lose its flame by lighting another. Instead, it spreads its light. Compassion is the same. When you offer kindness, you do not lose anything. Instead, you create more warmth, more love, more understanding in the world. And in doing so, you become lighter, freer, happier. There is a Buddhist practice called metta, or loving-kindness meditation. It is a simple, yet powerful way to train the heart in compassion. You begin by closing your eyes, taking a deep breath, and repeating silently, "May I be happy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering." Then, you extend it to others. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free from suffering. At first, it may feel strange. But over time, something shifts. The heart softens. The mind expands. The walls of separation begin to fade, and you realize you are not alone. You never were. We are all connected, all part of the same great web of life. In the end, the measure of a life well lived is not in wealth, or power, or success. It is in the kindness we show, the love we give, the hearts we touch along the way. A single moment of compassion can change someone's life forever. And perhaps, in the process, it changes ours as well. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, how can I bring more compassion into my life? How can I be kinder, not just to others, but to myself? How can I turn every challenge, every interaction, every day into an opportunity to expand my heart? The answers are within you. All you have to do is listen. Simplicity and clarity, decluttering the mind for true peace. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let everything else fade away. Now, tell me, when was the last time you truly felt light, free, and at peace? Not just for a moment, not just for a fleeting second, but deep within your heart and mind. Most people live in a world of clutter, external clutter, internal clutter, endless thoughts, endless distractions. They fill their lives with things they don't need, worries that don't serve them, and noise that keeps them from hearing what truly matters. And yet, they wonder why they feel exhausted, why they feel lost, why they feel as if something is missing. But the truth is simple. The more you carry, the heavier you feel. The more you chase, the more lost you become. The more you fill your life with unnecessary things, the harder it becomes to see what is truly important. Buddhism teaches us that simplicity is not about having nothing. It is about having just enough. It is about removing what is unnecessary so that what remains can shine. It is about clearing the fog in your mind so you can finally see the path ahead. Look at nature. The tree does not hold on to every leaf forever. When the season changes, it lets go, without fear, without regret. The wind does not try to capture every cloud. It lets them pass, freely, effortlessly. But humans? Humans hold on to everything. Thoughts, emotions, grudges, fears, possessions, expectations. And then they wonder why they feel burdened, why they feel stuck. Imagine carrying a heavy bag on your back. Inside, there are things you have collected over the years, old regrets, fears, failures, expectations, worries about the future. You carry this bag every single day, and over time, it weighs you down. You feel tired, but you don't even realize why. But what if you opened the bag and started removing what no longer serves you? What if you let go of just one fear, one regret, one unnecessary burden? Wouldn't the journey become lighter? Wouldn't each step feel easier? Simplicity is not about giving up everything. It is about choosing what truly matters. It is about understanding that not everything deserves your time, your energy, your attention. It is about realizing that the mind, just like a room, needs space to breathe. Think about this. If you walk into a room filled with furniture, boxes, and old things you don't use, how do you feel? Trapped, stuck, overwhelmed. But if you walk into a clean, open space, how do you feel? Light, free, at peace. Your mind is the same way. If it is filled with too many thoughts, worries, distractions, it feels crowded, restless, uneasy. But when you remove what is unnecessary, when you give yourself space to breathe, everything changes. In Zen practice, there is a saying, when the teacup is full, no more tea can be poured. If your mind is full of clutter, how can you invite wisdom? If your heart is full of distractions, how can you experience peace? If your life is overflowing with unnecessary things, how can you find true happiness? Many people believe that more is always better, more possessions, more achievements, more information, more entertainment. But in reality, the more you add, the more complicated life becomes. Peace is not found in having more. Peace is found in having just enough. Enough to live, enough to grow, enough to be free. Simplicity is not just about the things you own. It is also about the thoughts you entertain. Have you ever noticed how a single negative thought can spiral into a storm? One worry leads to another, one fear creates 10 more, and before you know it, your mind is filled with noise. But what if you simply let go? What if, instead of feeding those thoughts, you watch them pass, like clouds in the sky? In Buddhism, there is a practice called Shoshin, the beginner's mind. It is the practice of seeing the world with fresh eyes, without assumptions, without baggage from the past. Imagine waking up each day without yesterday's worries weighing you down. Imagine looking at life without the filters of fear, regret, or expectation. That is clarity. That is freedom. That is peace. But clarity does not come from outside. It does not come from running away or searching for something new. It comes from within. It comes when you stop, when you breathe, when you simplify. When you learn to let go of what is unnecessary, what is left is pure, unshaken, and true. Think of water in a muddy pond. If you keep stirring it, the water remains cloudy. But if you let it sit still, the dirt settles, and the water becomes clear. Your mind is no different. When you are constantly caught up in distractions, overthinking, and unnecessary worries, clarity is impossible. But when you simplify, when you remove what does not serve you, the mind becomes calm, and the answers you are looking for become clear. People spend their whole lives chasing happiness, searching for meaning, looking for something that will make them feel complete. But what if the answer was never in more? What if the answer was in less? Less worry, less distraction, less attachment to things that do not matter. Simplicity is not about deprivation. It is about freedom. It is about unburdening yourself from what does not serve you. It is about making space for what truly matters. Imagine a life where your mind is not weighed down by unnecessary worries. Imagine a day where your heart is not filled with unnecessary distractions. Imagine a moment where you are truly, completely at peace. That is the power of simplicity. That is the beauty of clarity. And that is what leads to true, lasting peace. So, tell me, what are you ready to let go of today? The strength of patience, developing resilience in every moment. Patience. A simple word, yet one of the hardest things to practice. We live in a world where everything happens fast. If a web page takes too long to load, we get frustrated. If someone doesn't reply to our message immediately, we feel ignored. If success doesn't come quickly, we question if we are on the right path. We want everything now, quick results, instant happiness, immediate change. But life doesn't work that way. Nature doesn't rush, yet everything gets done. The seed doesn't turn into a tree overnight. The river doesn't carve through the mountain in a day. The sun doesn't rise instantly. Everything unfolds in its own time. And so do you. Buddhism teaches that patience is not just about waiting. It is about how you wait. It is about the mindset you carry while facing delays, difficulties, or disappointments. A person with patience doesn't just endure, they grow stronger in the process. Think of a farmer planting a crop. He does not dig up the soil every day to check if the seeds are growing. He waters them, nurtures them, and trusts that in time, they will bloom. If he becomes impatient and stops caring for the seeds just because he doesn't see results immediately, you will never see the harvest. Your life works the same way. When you start building better habits, you may not see results immediately. You might try to be more mindful, more disciplined, more kind, and yet, there will be days when you feel like you are not making any progress. But just like the farmer, you must keep nurturing your efforts. Growth is happening beneath the surface, even if you cannot see it. Have you ever noticed how the most peaceful people in the world are also the most patient? They don't rush. They don't react in anger. They don't force things. They trust the process. This is the strength of patience. A person who lacks patience suffers twice, once because of the situation, and once because of their frustration. Imagine being stuck in traffic. The impatient person honks, complains, and feels miserable. The patient person listens to music, observes the moment, and remains calm. The situation is the same, but the experience is different. You have probably faced moments where things didn't go your way. A goal took longer than expected. A dream felt out of reach. A person you trusted let you down. Maybe you've asked yourself, why is this happening? Why is life testing me? But what if life is not testing you? What if life is training you? A tree that grows in perfect conditions, without wind or struggle, develops weak roots. The slightest storm can bring it down. But a tree that faces strong winds learns to stand firm. It grows deeper roots. It becomes unshakable. Life gives you challenges not to punish you, but to prepare you. Every time something takes longer than expected, every time something doesn't go as planned, you are growing stronger. The universe is shaping you into someone who can handle greater things. But patience is not just about enduring difficulties. It is also about understanding timing. There is a right time for everything. A fruit picked too early is sour. A butterfly forced out of its cocoon too soon will not survive. Some things need time to ripen, to mature, to develop. Look back at your life. Were there moments where you wished for something, but later realized that the delay was a blessing? Maybe a rejection led you to something better. Maybe a failure taught you a lesson that changed your path. Maybe something you desperately wanted wouldn't have actually been good for you. The wise understand that things happen when they are meant to happen. You cannot rush the river, but you can learn to flow with it. You cannot force the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You cannot control time, but you can control your patience. So, how do you become more patient? Start with the small things. When you are waiting in line, instead of feeling annoyed, take a deep breath and observe your surroundings. When someone is speaking, instead of interrupting, listen fully. When things don't go as planned, instead of reacting in frustration, pause and remind yourself, this moment is shaping you. In Buddhism, patience is a form of wisdom. It is not about weakness. It is about strength. The strongest people are not those who fight against time, but those who understand it. They do not resist the present moment, they accept it, learn from it, and grow through it. A river never stops flowing because of a rock in its path. It simply moves around it, shaping the stone over time. Your challenges are those rocks. Your patience is the river. One day, you will look back at your struggles and see that they were not obstacles. They were your teachers. They shaped you, strengthened you, and led you to exactly where you were meant to be. So trust the process. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with others. Be patient with life. Because everything unfolds in its own time. And when you understand this, nothing can shake you. The wisdom of gratitude, shifting perspectives for a happier life. Sit with me for a moment. Breathe in and breathe out. Let go of everything just for now. Let go of what you want, what you lack, what you fear. Just be here in this moment. Do you feel it? This moment is enough. You are enough. Gratitude is not about saying thank you because it is polite. It is about seeing life as it is and realizing that, despite everything, there is beauty. There is kindness. There is something to appreciate. Most people spend their entire lives chasing something: more money, more success, more approval, more happiness. They run and run, but they never stop to ask, do I already have enough? Think of a cup with a small crack. No matter how much water you pour into it, it will always leak. If your mind is always focused on what you don't have, nothing will ever be enough. You will always feel empty, no matter how much you achieve. But if you learn to appreciate what is already in front of you, even a single drop of water can feel like a gift. Some people wake up and immediately think of their problems. They focus on what is wrong, what is missing, what they wish they could change. And so, their entire day becomes a reflection of that mindset. But others wake up and, before doing anything else, they acknowledge one thing they are grateful for. Maybe it's the roof over their head. Maybe it's the warmth of the sun. Maybe it's simply the breath in their lungs. And because they start with gratitude, their entire day shifts. Imagine two travelers walking the same path. One keeps looking ahead, frustrated that the journey is long, thinking only of how much farther they have to go. The other looks around and notices the trees, the birds, the way the wind moves through the grass. One sees only the destination. The other sees the journey. Which traveler do you think enjoys the walk? Gratitude is the art of seeing. It is the practice of shifting your attention from what is missing to what is present. And the more you practice it, the more you begin to realize happiness was never somewhere in the future. It was always here, waiting to be noticed. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment, the constant craving for something different, something better, something more. But what if, instead of craving, we practiced gratitude? What if, instead of thinking about what is missing, we focused on what is already here? Imagine how much peace we would feel. Imagine how much lighter life would become. But gratitude is not just about feeling good in the moment. It is a habit, a way of seeing, a practice that, over time, transforms everything. Have you ever met someone who, despite having little, seems genuinely happy? And have you met someone who has everything yet still feels miserable? The difference is not in what they have. It is in what they see. Many people think they will be grateful after they achieve their goals. I will be happy when I get a better job. I will feel at peace when I find the right relationship. I will enjoy life when I have more money. But the truth is, if you do not learn to be grateful now, you never will be. Because even when those things come, your mind will still look for the next thing, and the next, and the next. A wise person does not wait for happiness. They cultivate it. They nurture it like a seed, watering it with gratitude every day. And soon, it grows into something unshakable, something that no external situation can take away. So how do we practice gratitude? It is simple. Right now, think of one thing you are grateful for. Just one. It does not have to be big. Maybe it is the sound of rain. Maybe it is a kind word someone said to you. Maybe it is the fact that you are here, alive, breathing, experiencing this moment. Hold on to that thought for a few seconds. Feel it. Did you notice what happened? For just a moment, your mind stopped searching. It stopped chasing. It was simply here, content with what is. That is the power of gratitude. When you start practicing this daily, you will notice something incredible. Your perspective will shift. The things that used to frustrate you won't seem so heavy. The things that used to stress you won't feel as urgent. And the things that bring you joy will multiply. Because the more you appreciate, the more life gives you to appreciate. Even in difficult moments, there is something to be grateful for. Sometimes, challenges teach us valuable lessons. Sometimes, pain makes us stronger. And sometimes, a single act of kindness reminds us that even in a world of chaos, there is still goodness. Think of a lotus flower. It grows in the mud, in the darkest, most difficult conditions. And yet, it rises above the water, pure and beautiful. Gratitude is like that. It allows us to rise above our struggles, to find beauty even in the messiness of life. There is a Zen teaching that says, enough is a feast. When you stop chasing more and start appreciating what is already here, you realize you have always had enough. And when you understand that, peace follows. Not because your life is perfect, but because you no longer need it to be. Take a deep breath. Look around you. See what is already here. Because this moment, this breath, this life, is a gift. And if you can recognize that, you have already found something priceless. Living with intention, aligning actions with your higher purpose. Sit down. Breathe. Feel this moment. You are here, right now, listening. That is all that matters. Have you ever felt like life is just happening to you? Like you wake up every day and follow the same routine, but something feels missing? You do things, but they don't bring you real joy. You chase goals, but when you reach them, you still feel empty. Have you ever wondered why? The truth is, most people are not living their lives. They're only reacting. Reacting to circumstances. Reacting to what others expect of them. Reacting to fears, worries, and distractions. They are moving, but without direction. They are busy, but without meaning. But you have the power to change that. Living with intention is not about controlling everything. It is about making conscious choices. It is about knowing why you do what you do. It is about aligning your actions with something deeper, your values, your wisdom, your higher purpose. Think about a boat in the ocean. If it has no direction, it will drift wherever the waves take it. Some days, it may move forward. Other days, it may be pushed backward. But it is not really going anywhere. Now imagine that boat has a compass, a destination, and a steady hand guiding it. No matter how strong the waves are, it will stay on course. This is the difference between reacting to life and living with intention. So, ask yourself, what is your compass? What is guiding you? Is it fear, or is it wisdom? Is it pressure from society, or is it the truth within you? Buddhism teaches that everything begins with the mind. Your thoughts shape your reality. Your intentions shape your future. If your actions are disconnected from your heart, you will always feel lost. But when you align your actions with your purpose, life becomes clear. Look around you. So many people are chasing things without knowing why. They run after money, but they never feel rich. They chase success, but they never feel fulfilled. They seek happiness in external things, but happiness is not found outside. It is built inside. Think of a person planting seeds. If they scatter them randomly, without care, some may grow, but many will be wasted. But if they plant with awareness, choosing the right soil, giving the right attention, every seed has the chance to flourish. Your actions are like these seeds. When you act with purpose, with understanding, with patience, what you create will be meaningful. Now, let's bring this back to you. What are you doing with your time? Each day, you wake up with a limited number of breaths, a limited number of steps, a limited number of moments. What are you using them for? Are you spending them in distraction, in meaningless worries, in temporary pleasures? Or are you using them to build something real? Many people think that purpose is something grand, something they need to search for. But your purpose is not something you need to find. It is something you create. It is not waiting for you in the future. It is in the choices you make right now. When you drink tea, drink tea. When you walk, walk. When you speak, speak with truth. When you listen, listen fully. This is living with intention. Imagine two people working. One is just doing the task to get it done. The other is fully present, giving their best, putting care into every action. The result? One feels tired, drained, disconnected. The other feels engaged, alive, fulfilled. The work is the same, but the intention is different. If you want to transform your life, start by transforming your intention. Don't just do things. Know why you're doing them. Don't just move with purpose. Don't just exist, live. Think of an archer. If they shoot without aiming, the arrow may fly, but it will not reach the target. But if they focus, steady their hand, breathe deeply, and aim with care, the arrow will find its mark. In the same way, your life is shaped by where you place your focus. But what if you don't know your purpose yet? What if you feel lost? Then start small. Set an intention for the day. Before you begin something, pause. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? What I want to create? What energy am I bringing into this? A simple intention can change everything. Wake up and say, today, I will act with kindness. Today, I will be patient. Today, I will focus on what matters. These small choices, repeated every day, become your path. Buddhism teaches that there is no need to rush. No need to force. The path unfolds when you walk it with awareness. So, let's take a moment. Right now, right here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel your heartbeat. This is your life. This is your moment. Make it count. Inner stillness. The power of silence and reflection. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Listen to the silence around you. Do you hear it? That space between sounds, the quiet beneath the noise? This silence is not empty. It is full. It is alive. And within it, you can find something that is missing in your life, peace. The world is loud. Every day, you wake up to noise, notifications, messages, conversations, endless distractions. Your mind is constantly pulled in 1,000 directions. You think about the past, worry about the future, react to everything happening around you. But have you ever stopped and asked yourself, what happens when I do nothing? What happens when I just sit, breathe, and listen to the silence? Buddhism teaches us that stillness is not just the absence of movement, it is the presence of awareness. When you are still, you begin to see clearly. You begin to understand yourself, your thoughts, and your emotions in a way that is impossible when you are caught up in the rush of life. Have you ever watched a pond when the water is still? The surface is clear, and you can see straight to the bottom. But when the water is disturbed, it becomes cloudy, and everything underneath is hidden. Your mind is the same. When it is still, you can see the truth. But when it is constantly shaken by distractions, worries, and desires, you lose sight of what really matters. Most people fear silence. They avoid it. They fill every moment with something: music, television, conversations, work, entertainment. They believe that if they are not busy, they are wasting time. But the greatest wisdom, the deepest peace, is found in moments of stillness. When you are silent, you start to notice things you never noticed before. You notice the way your mind jumps from one thought to another. You notice how much energy you spend reacting to things that do not matter. You begin to see how much noise exists, not just in the world, but inside you. The great Zen masters say, sit quietly, do nothing, and the spring will come, and the grass will grow by itself. This means that when you stop trying to control everything, when you let go and become still, the right answers, the right path, and the right understanding come naturally. You do not have to force them. You just have to be present enough to see them. Think about the greatest moments of clarity in your life. Did they come when you were rushing, talking, and reacting? Or did they come in moments of silence, when you were alone, walking, watching the sunset, or simply sitting with your own thoughts? Many people believe that silence is loneliness. But silence is not loneliness. Silence is a teacher. It is in silence that you truly meet yourself. It is in silence that you hear the voice of wisdom within you, the voice that has been buried under the noise of the world. In Buddhism, silence is not just the absence of speech. It is the practice of deep listening. When you are silent, you hear things differently. You listen to others, not just with your ears, but with your heart. You hear their pain, their joy, their fears. You begin to understand them in a way that words can never fully explain. There is a story of a Zen student who came to his master and asked, "What is the path to enlightenment?" The master simply remained silent. The student waited, growing frustrated. "Why do you not answer me?" he asked. The master smiled and said, "I have answered you, but you have not yet learned to listen." Silence teaches patience. In a world that demands instant answers, silence reminds us that not everything needs to be solved right away. Some things take time. Some answers reveal themselves only when we stop searching for them. When you embrace stillness, you stop reacting to life and start responding to it. There is a difference. Reaction is instant. It is based on emotion, impulse, habit. But response is different. Response comes from a place of awareness. It is thoughtful, wise, and measured. Imagine a person insults you. If you react, you get angry, say something hurtful, and the conflict grows. But if you are still, if you pause before responding, something changes. You see their words for what they are, just words. You see that their anger is a reflection of them, not you. And instead of reacting, you choose to respond with wisdom. This is the power of inner stillness. It does not mean you never speak, never act, never engage with the world. It means that when you do so from a place of peace, not from chaos. The Buddha once said, "The wise man, like a deep lake, is calm and clear." Think about that. A deep lake does not shake with every wind. A deep lake does not panic when a stone is thrown into it. It remains still, reflecting the sky above. When you cultivate inner stillness, you become like that lake, calm, clear, unshaken by the storms of life. So how do you practice stillness? You begin by setting aside time for silence. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Just sit, breathe, listen, do nothing. At first, your mind will resist. Thoughts will come, distractions will arise. That is natural, but do not fight them. Just observe them, and let them pass like clouds in the sky. As you continue this practice, something magical happens. The mind starts to settle. The noise begins to fade. And in that space, something deeper emerges: clarity, peace, understanding. You do not have to run away to a monastery or escape to the mountains to find stillness. Stillness is within you, always. You just have to stop long enough to notice it. There is great power in doing nothing. Not in the sense of being lazy or unproductive, but in the sense of being present, aware, awake. When you stop running, when you stop filling every moment with noise, you begin to see things as they really are. And in that seeing, transformation begins. The greatest wisdom is not found in books. It is not found in endless talking or debating. It is found in silence, in the space between thoughts, in the quiet moments where truth reveals itself. So today, take a moment. Just one moment. Close your eyes. Breathe. Be still. Listen to the silence, not as emptiness, but as presence. And in that silence, you may just discover something that has been waiting for you all along: yourself. Embracing change, adapting with grace and confidence. Change is not something to be feared. It is the nature of life itself. Look around you. Nothing stays the same. The seasons change, the river flows, the clouds move across the sky. Even the mountains, which seem so solid and unshakable, are slowly being shaped by time. Everything is in motion. And yet, when change comes into our own lives, we resist it. Why? Because we seek stability. We want to hold on to what is familiar, what feels safe. We build routines, relationships, identities, and we tell ourselves, this is who I am, this is my life. But then, life moves forward. Circumstances shift, people change, the things we once relied on begin to fade. And we feel lost, uncertain, afraid. But here's the truth, resisting change does not stop it. It only creates suffering. The more we cling to the past, the more pain we experience. The more we try to control the future, the more anxiety we feel. But what if, instead of resisting change, we embraced it? What if we flowed with life, instead of fighting against it? In Buddhism, there is a teaching called impermanence, the understanding that nothing is permanent. Not our thoughts, not our emotions, not our successes, not our failures. Everything is in a constant state of transformation. When we truly accept this, we stop holding on so tightly. We stop fearing the unknown. We begin to see that every change, no matter how difficult, carries the potential for growth. Think of a tree in the middle of a storm. A rigid tree, one that refuses to bend, will break under the force of the wind. But a flexible tree, one that sways and moves with the wind, survives. It does not resist. It does not fight. It simply flows with what is. This is the way we must approach life. When challenges arise, when life shifts in unexpected ways, we must learn to bend, not as a sign of weakness, but as a sign of wisdom. But how do we do this? How do we embrace change when it feels overwhelming? The first step is to let go of fear. Fear is a product of the mind. It is the stories we tell ourselves about what might happen, what we might lose. But most of these fears never become reality. They exist only in our thoughts. Instead of fearing change, we can choose to trust. Trust that life is unfolding as it should. Trust that every challenge carries a lesson. Trust that even when things seem uncertain, we have the strength to adapt. The second step is to stay present. Most of our suffering comes not from change itself, but from our resistance to it. We dwell on the past, wishing things had stayed the same. Or we worry about the future, imagining the worst. But in doing so, we miss the present moment, the only moment where life is truly happening. When we learn to focus on now, we begin to see that we are okay. We are still here. We are still breathing. And in this moment, we have the power to respond with wisdom rather than fear. The third step is to see change as an opportunity. Every transformation, no matter how painful, carries a gift. A lesson to be learned. A new path to be discovered. The end of something is always the beginning of something else. Think back to the moments in your life when things changed unexpectedly. At the time, it may have seemed difficult, even unbearable. But looking back, can you see how those moments shaped you? How they led you to new experiences, new understanding, new growth? There is a story of a farmer who lost his horse. His neighbors came to him and said, "What bad luck." But the farmer simply replied, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returned, this time with several wild horses following it. The neighbors said, "What good fortune." But the farmer only said, "Maybe." Later, the farmer's son tried to ride one of the wild horses and fell, breaking his leg. Again, the neighbors said, "What a tragedy." And again, the farmer said, "Maybe." A week later, soldiers came to the village, taking all the young men for war, but they left the farmer's son because of his broken leg. The neighbors said, "What a blessing." And the farmer simply said, "Maybe." This is the way of life. What seems bad today may lead to something good tomorrow. What seems like a loss now may open the door to something even greater in the future. We cannot see the full picture while we are in the middle of it. But if we trust, if we remain open, if we flow with life instead of resisting it, we will always find our way. So, when change comes, ask yourself, will I resist, or will I adapt? Will I see this as a disaster, or will I look for the lesson? Will I hold on to the past, or will I move forward with grace? You have the power to choose how you respond to life. You can fight against the current, exhausting yourself, trying to hold on to what was. Or you can let go, surrender, and allow yourself to be carried forward into something new. And as you embrace change, as you learn to flow with life instead of against it, you will discover something incredible. You are stronger than you think. You are more adaptable than you realize. No matter what life brings, you have everything you need to face it. Because you are not a rigid tree, afraid of the storm. You are a river, flowing forward, always moving, always growing, always embracing whatever comes next.